be able to make their own choices in their profession, in their careers, for their families. It's not about politics. It's not about who's good and who's bad and Uber's bad and all this stuff. It's just simply about what is going to help people make more money and support their families with more freedoms rather than more restrictions. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Neil Winteregg, joined as always by Dr. Greg Winteregg, CEO of Matterhorn Business Development and author. You can find out more about his book down below called Fun at Work. There's an audiobook as well as the Kindle version or a paperback, so please check that out. Now, today we have an important topic to talk about, and in fact, I actually have this topic because one or two people actually commented on some of the videos that we did about the California AB5 Act. Because for months that we've been talking about AB5, we said eventually you can laugh and say how bad California is for passing this law. Mm-hmm. Eventually, the same law will get passed in other states, if not federally.
Yep, we predicted it.
That is what we're looking at right now.
Here we go.
It's called the Federal PRO Act, or the Protecting the Right to Organize Act. Mm-hmm. So these acts and these laws have very good titles. If you just looked at it on a voting ballot and you had no idea what it was.
Everybody should have the right to organize.
We should all protect the right to organize.
That's right.
And we think when we're voting on that we're talking about being able to hold public rallies and protecting the First Amendment.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah, well, of course I'm gonna pass on that. You know, let's just check that box off and vote for it. But in the end, what it actually is so much worse. And it has already passed the House, this bill. We're going to talk about what's in the bill in just a second here, but it's passed the House. It's been heavily fought by different politicians, and the Republicans are not for it, and the Democrats are for it. This isn't a political show. It's just what the truth of the matter is right now.
We just need you to have the data.
Yeah, it's just about data, okay? It's just about what is in this act and why is it so important. And it's actually very hard to find out any information about this bill.
Yep. Ding.
That's the first red flag.
Number one.
Yes. When you can't find a negative view about something,
red flag.
There's a red flag, right? So you need to be able to look at, to find out if something is true for you, you have to be able to look at multiple points of view of the same thing. And when I first read the first two articles, it didn't say anything in there about what the commenters on our channel said was in the bill.
Right.
So I had to do multiple Google searches until I found one article.
Wow.
That actually broke down what is in this act.
Okay, so let's get right down to the bottom line. What is this thing? If we just cut right to the heart of it.
So in the Washington Post article that I found, it basically sums up the PRO Act as would amend some of the country's decades-old labor. So obviously
that's outdated.
Yep. Give workers more power during disputes at work. Add penalties for companies that retaliate against workers who organize, and grant some hundreds of thousands of workers collective bargaining rights they don't currently have.
Now all of that sounds good.
Yeah, you know what it means when you're giving people, hundreds of thousands of workers, collective bargaining rights? Those are independent contractors who, on their own initiative, work independently for multiple companies under their own rules and under their own agreements with those companies.
And those people can work with whatever company they want.
Yep.
They can take vacation.
They can get paid what they want.
They can charge their own rates.
Yep.
And so
I have the ability as an independent contractor to come to your company and provide a service that you need or want at a particular rate, at a particular time, at a particular amount of hours that benefits both of us, and we are able to agree upon that as two individuals as to what that agreement is going to be.
What would this do to that agreement between you and me?
Well, between me and you, we would no longer have an agreement.
What would happen?
If the PRO Act became law, I can no longer be an independent contractor. I now have to join as an employee for you.
Okay.
And I have to be a part of a union and pay union dues.
Wow.
To actually be able to be an employee somewhere. Now,
okay, so then if you're my employee, I'm going to tell you what you're making.
Yes. And I agree to that.
And you have to agree, but then also union dues are going to be ripped out of your paycheck.
Yes.
Maybe you don't, even if you don't want to be part of the union, this will force you to be in the union.
This will force you to be in the union.
That doesn't sound very much like freedom.
That doesn't sound like freedom to me. Now, the bad article that I found, and I have to do more research into what is in the bill, so I'm going to put an asterisk on this because I haven't read the full bill or the full act to be able to say, but the National Retail Federation wrote a article on this January 31st, which was right before this was going to pass for the House. They called it the worst bill in Congress. And here's a few of the points that are in there.
Now, this is the National Retail Federation.
Yeah,
I think we should listen to their opinion.
Well, they're clearly jerks.
Okay, let's find out why.
So this would put an end to independent work and the gig economy. So under the PRO Act, this would work just like the California AB5 bill, where if you write newspaper articles, you do online blogs, you do photography, you're an artist, you are any sort of an independent contractor, you are now out of a job.
Wow.
They're going to use the same ABC test that the AB5 has. And basically, if it expands nationwide, it would mean limited opportunity for individuals to work as independent contractors in numerous industries, including those who drive for ride-sharing platforms such as Uber and Lyft and those who provide important services to retailers. So automatically, this PRO Act is going to follow the same line that the AB5 bill did, where all the people that are Ubering and Lyfting and Postmating and whatever else there is these days are not happy with the amount of pay that they're getting. So we're gonna make those corporations the bad guy, and we're gonna get everybody to sympathize with the little guy and get this bill passed. Meanwhile, everybody who's sympathizing with the little guy just got screwed in the process.
Yep.
That's exactly what happened in California.
And we made a video about that.
We've made 4 videos about AB5. The last video was the politicians that passed AB5 actually admitting that it doesn't work,
right?
Because they're having to amend almost the entire bill,
right?
Admittedly,
yep,
have wasted millions upon millions of taxpayer dollars for a bill that lost over 1 million people their jobs.
Yep.
So
all in the name, really, of attacking the evil empires of Uber, Lyft, etc. So the point here is be very careful about just reading the title of a bill, any legislative bill. Do your own research, and it really is alarming if you can't find an opposing view.
Yeah.
So we're going to put the link down below for you to dig in and find this for yourself. But really, this is something that you need to make your own decision on. And I'm very, very cautious about turning control of my life over to a government policy.
Yeah.
Because that immediately, even if initially it works for me, that limits now my flexibility in the future. If my circumstances change in 1, 3, 5, even 10 years, we know once these bills get passed, they're very hard to undo.
Right.
So don't just jump on this bandwagon. Definitely be sure and check it out and get your own data.
And we've said this numerous times, and I still get a bazillion comments, okay? We aren't Republican, Democrat, or anything else in between. We look at information from a unopposed view and an unbiased view to look at what helps people and what doesn't help people. I am also not pro Uber and Lyft. Every time you leave me a comment that says, oh, well, I did this thing and Uber took 90% of my money. I'm like, okay, I think that's bad, okay? I agree with you, that's stupid, okay? But I'm not saying that because Uber took 90% of your fare, I should lose my 2 sources of income.
Right.
Because that's actually how I do a lot of my work is on an independent contracting basis, right? So it actually ruins other people's lives because you got ripped off by Uber. Guess what? I know you don't want to hear it, but if Uber ripped you off, don't drive for them again.
Right.
You know, and under the current laws, you have that right to be able to not have to drive for them or be able to drive for them. It's your decision. if an act like this gets passed, the individual worker's rights actually go down, and you no longer have the opportunity to decide your future. You are actually being told what you have to do next. And we are anti anything that actually harms the ability for an individual to make their own decisions in their own life. That is what we are against. This is not about Republicans and Democrats and politics and all this stuff, okay? This is about what's right and what is wrong. And so we do not agree with the PRO Act as it is.
And you need to be able to maintain your own independence. You need to be able to have control of your own destiny.
Yep.
So
that's what we believe in, and that's why we are not for this act. We said from the very first AB5 video that things like this would spread nationally, and they already are. And so we need to actually just get the word out about what this is. This is an educational video so that we can actually help spread the word and make sure that things like this don't become law as they sit. So we hope you learned something new today. If you have any more information on the PRO Act that you think I should read, please leave some comments down below or get into contact with us, and I will do some more videos on this. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.